Hi, I'm Brittany Powell, the Outreach Coordinator for Models for Success Professional Workforce Services here at Job One. Today for our Money Talk series, which means messages of opportunity and marketing to empower our youth. Today we have Ms. TroQuell Jenkins, who is an entrepreneur, and she is the owner of Beautiful Survivor Cosmetic line. We'll let her tell us a little bit about herself.
How you doing? My name is TroQuell Jenkins. I was born and raised in New Orleans. Growing up in New Orleans, I had to overcome many obstacles in my life. My mom has been addicted to drugs since I was about 5 years old. My dad was killed a couple days before my second birthday. So growing up was a little hard for me. Out of my mom being on drugs, me and my five brothers and sisters were separated, and we grew up in different households after she lost us to the state. I was raised by my dad's family, my grandmother and aunts, and because of that, I kind of bounced around from house to house growing up. When Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans, I was 12 years old, and I remember not taking it very seriously until me and my family was forced to evacuate out of New Orleans. We took some buses from Algiers to Houston's Astrodome, and from there we moved to California. It was in California where I kind of became rebellious and started to act out against my family. Started having fights and having problems with running away and stuff like that. When I came back to New Orleans, everything was different. The people was different, the city was different, houses were turned upside down, and so I kind of was trying to find my way back into this new city. I joined a gang with a group of girls from the project that I grew up in, the M.O.N.E.Y project uptown, and we formed the gang, and we just kind of started acting out even more. We started having fights at school, having gang fights at parades, having fights at parties. Like everywhere we went, we was just fighting and getting into trouble. I got expelled from school a few times, so I didn't think I was gonna graduate, and things like that. But after being in the gang for about 3 years, I just kind of got tired of the lifestyle. Started having problems with the girls. Anytime we put a group of girls together, there's always some drama. So we kind of started going our separate ways. I was 17 years old, a senior in high school, when I was shot 3 times by a boy that I dated. Basically, we got into an argument over the phone about us going out. I refused to go out with him and let him know I had a boyfriend. We got into an argument, and I saw him about 2 weeks later. We got into another argument, which led him to pull out a gun and shoot me 3 times, hitting me in my back, my chest, and my arm. I remember it feeling like a dream, like it was happening so fast and in slow motion at the same time. I remember falling to the ground and looking down and having blood all over my shirt, not knowing where I was shot. I remember my friends screaming and yelling. I remember telling one of my friends, I said, call my grandma and tell her I'm shot and I think I'm about to die. That didn't help because they just went even crazier. But I was rushed to University Hospital where I found out I was completely paralyzed, meaning my spinal cord was completely severed. I stayed in ICU for a few weeks before I was transferred to TroQuell Hospital, where I went through rehabilitation and physical therapy. I stayed in TroQuell for about 2 months before I was released. And I got out of the hospital just in time to finish up my senior year in high school. I was able to go to my senior prom and graduate with my class as well. I try to live life as normal as possible. I try to be the same person I was before I got shot, but it wasn't working out. Friends stopped coming around. I became a burden on my family. I couldn't do anything for myself. I couldn't put on my own clothes. I couldn't fix my own food. I couldn't getting in and out of the shower, in and out of the car, in and out of the house without needing some help. I couldn't even use the bathroom on my own. So I became really depressed. I became angry. I became angry at my family because I feel like they wasn't helping me like I needed them to. I became angry at myself because of the decisions that I made as a teenager. I was angry at the guy who shot me. I was angry at God from allowing me to go through what I was going through. Later on, I was introduced to a church called First Baptist New Orleans here in the city, and when I got there, the people just loved on me. They cared for me, they prayed for me, they kind of took me in. They started to disciple me, teach me about Jesus. And I had grew up in the church, like my grandmother made me go to church and stuff like that. But I never had like a personal relationship with Jesus. So as I began to learn more and more about Jesus and the gospel and the truth, I decided to give my life to him. And I got saved and baptized when I was 19 years old. After that, God just kind of transformed my life and things just started to change for me. I started getting introduced to new people. I was able to be blessed with new friends and new family. I was kind of spiritually adopted into a family and was blessed with a mom and a dad, something I never had before. And they kind of took me in and kind of nursed me back to health in a way and helped me become independent. I've been able to travel all over the country sharing my story. I've been to New York and New Jersey area about 3 times sharing my testimony in different churches throughout the area. I've been to Nebraska sharing my testimony, Tennessee, Washington, D.C., and various other places, Texas, sharing my testimony. I've been blessed to travel to Haiti 3 times on mission trips, Nicaragua, Brazil, and last year I went to Africa and was able to share my testimony at different churches and stuff like that. God has blessed me with my independence. Now I drive, I live alone. I was able to start my own business and also a ministry in a project that I grew up in, where I kind of go out and have Bible studies with the youth and kind of have snack time and rec time with them. But no matter what I've been through or no matter what I go through, I just know that I'm always going to have God, and that is what got me through everything that I've been through. And I'm just here to tell you that sometimes God will take you places that hustling can't. But yeah.
Okay, well, thank you for that. One of the questions that I have, I'd like to know, what's your driving force? I know you said that, finding Jesus and, being saved and everything, but what's your driving force? What is something that drove you to Beautiful Survivor? What made you go into the cosmetic line?
I love makeup. So
most girls.
yes. So I love makeup. I love getting cute. I love all that whole process. And so that in itself drove me to be interested in makeup. Once I noticed like how much makeup and products I buy from the beauty industry, I was interested in being invested in it. And then also learning that it's a $1 billion industry.
Yes.
And so it's like you can't go wrong in a $1 billion industry. It can never be oversaturated.
Correct.
So yeah.
Okay. And tell us some of the obstacles that you may have overcome to get to this point of success. Being able to find companies that you could afford to even produce your product. Tell us about some of that.
The biggest thing I feel with being a Black entrepreneur, there's a lot of times there's no one that went before you. It's like you're starting this, you're breaking the generational curse. And so the difference is like opposed to like maybe our white brothers and sisters or white Americans, it's like they probably had family members that have been entrepreneurs, that had businesses before them, that can kind of give them the blueprint of where to start, how to start, and kind of help them navigate and not make as many mistakes. So that was the biggest obstacle for me, kind of starting with like a blank canvas. And so kind of having to learn and go through the trial and error process. But also funding, when you're trying to pay bills and live and sustain yourself, but also invest in yourself. That's a big obstacle. So me having to like pay my bills and also work to pay my bills, but also kind of set aside and make sacrifices to start my business was hard. But yeah, once you do that and kind of find the right product and find the right companies to work with, then it's kind of uphill from there.
Did you have any persons from the community, from your old community, who invested in you, who sold into your vision, per se?
Far as buying product, yeah. So after I kind of got it started, there's people that's been invested in buying my product. But far as the startup goes, no. I actually was able to start up my business by driving Uber.
Okay.
So I had my regular job, and then I did Uber kind of on the side to kind of save up to invest in it. So after I found the vendors and the manufacturers, I counted the cost of how much it would be, and then I went ahead and just kind of hustled from there to save up that money for the cost. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And I don't want this to be sensitive to you, but does your physical impurities, does that hinder anything when it comes to, or how has that been? Is that an obstacle for you at all when it comes to your business? Because you do deliver, right?
Yeah, I do. But I drive as well, so that's not. I mean, being in a wheelchair makes everything a little bit harder, as far as even getting out of my car. Like if you have to run into a store right now, like you can kind of hop out running and get back in, opposed to like me having to break down my wheelchair and put it in the car and then break it down or take it out or whatever. So it is an obstacle in that way, but I kind of try not to let it get to me. I think being in a wheelchair probably has helped me in a lot of ways, because people are willing to listen to me. They're willing to support me and things like that.
So you haven't let it take a toll on you emotionally, but I'm sure it has at some point, right?
At some point, yeah. There's times where it's like I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh, I have a wheelchair on the side of my bed.
Right.
But yeah, not for the most part.
Well, do you all have any questions for Ms. Jenkins? Anybody?
I do.
Okay.
At what point would you say, did you have at some point your mindset had to change in order to aid you in the process of gaining the success you have in your business?
I think when I got saved, I think my mindset kind of changed. I think up until that point, I was really just angry. I was angry for a long time, and I didn't realize it till I was out of it. But even looking back now, just how I used to respond to people, how I used to respond to life, like I was just very angry. But I've always been a determined person, and I believe it's because of the way that I grew up. I did grow up without my mom and dad, so I had to be independent really young, where I was combing my own hair and stuff like that, because I grew up in a household filled with people where I didn't get a whole lot of attention, especially because my mom and dad wasn't in the household. So I think me growing up like that, and then when I got in a wheelchair, it was hard. It was devastating because I had always been independent, but it was easier for me to bounce back because I was hungry to be independent again. So it's like, okay, I need to get back to where I was. I can't depend on nobody.
So you used it as a motivation.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
How can we reach you if we wanted to get some products for family members or something like that?
So my name on Instagram, my personal Instagram is _beautiful survivor. And my business Instagram is Project Beauty, and the E in beauty is a 3 because I'm from the 3rd ward.
Well, we want to thank you for coming through and speaking with us. We look forward to having you back, and I definitely will be getting some of that lip gloss.
Yes, I look forward to coming back as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brittany.
Awarded to TroQuell Jenkins in recognition of your dedication, preservation, and support of the youth in the greater New Orleans community.
Thank you
You're
so much,
welcome.
Brittany. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it. And then they match my floors in my house. So
Oh,
it's
well, look
gonna
at
be
that. Look at that.
perfect.
See?
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're
I
welcome.
appreciate this.